Okay, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining my session. And this talk will be about incident management and specifically how to not only talk the talk but also walk the walk when it comes to incident management. So the thing is that when I was in high school, and at least in my high school, the common belief is that if you actively listen in class, then you have 50% of the exam prep already in your pocket. So I want to show you how I leveraged this belief and adapted it to production and being an engineer. So that will help you manage incidents in a proper way, more efficiently, in a structured way to come prepared, and also we'll cover some aspects of which traits you should have as an on-call, as an incident manager, and how to improve them. So we will have several things to cover, so let's start. So first of all, hi, my name is Hila. I'm a senior DevOps engineer and I work for Wix. For those of you who don't know, Wix is providing a platform for building websites, either for tech-savvy people or not. I have 15 years of experience in the tech industry, which means I've seen a lot of production incidents. I dealt with a lot of them. I was part of them even without being on call, which is a totally different story. So I really been through a lot of blood, sweat, and tears doing production stuff. I live in Israel, so I help co-organize conferences in Israel, DevOps Days Tel Aviv, which is the largest DevOps Days conference in the entire world, and StatsCraft, which is a monitoring conference. I'm a DevOps culture fan. I think this is what helps companies achieve great things. And I'm a lead singer in a cover band, as you can see in this picture. It is a lot of fun, and I hope that you can see the screen. Okay, so the agenda for today basically is, first of all, which mindset is needed to manage incidents. Then we will go over the incident management process that I follow and basically have structured way to manage the incident, and we'll have questions that you can ask in order to continue to the next phase. On-call traits that you should have in order to manage incidents, and how can we improve those traits, and how can you be proactive both in your day-to-day as an engineer and after the fact, after an incident took place, in order to already come prepared to incidents. So let's start. So incident management is a set of procedures and actions taken to resolve critical incidents. And basically it is an end-to-end process that defines how incidents are detected and communicated, who is responsible to handle those incidents, what tools are used to investigate and respond to these incidents, and what steps are needed to be taken in order to resolve these issues. But the thing is that we need to reframe our perspective in this regard. Why? Because not all pages that we have are incidents, right? It depends on whether we have a loss or potential loss of revenue, customers, data, and more. And if we don't have an incident management process, then it could potentially mean that we will lose valuable data. The downtime could lead to reduced productivity and revenues, and business could be held liable for breach of a service level agreement, SLAs, which is not good. We want to make sure that business doesn't breach any agreements. So it means that we need to reframe our perspective and say that, hey, we don't need to have putting out files perspective. We need to have a different mindset, which means to have a structured process. And in order to have a structured process, we need to have a business mindset. So it means that, yeah, we are engineers, we are technical people, we care about the tech stuff, but we need to understand that we are part of a company, of a business, and the business cares about all sorts of things, all of the SLAs, the customers, the reputation. So we don't only need to think about fixing this issue, we need to think about the big picture. And also we need to understand the why, because just actually in this conference, I spoke to someone outside that he said that, yeah, we had some support team that their whole purpose was to just have like a cron job that whenever it starts to start it again, and they didn't even know what they are doing it. I mean, why they are doing it. And then they went to lunch. I hope it's okay to share the story. They went to lunch, and then nobody was there to fix the issue. And then they said, okay, But then once their manager told them, okay, this is needed because ABC, then they understood the severity of this cron job, and that's why whenever they had to go to lunch, they had like someone to stay on the floor and make sure someone is handling it. So understanding the why is very, very important in order to understand the business impact of any incident that you will have. And basically the business mindset is needed to grasp the overall impact of incident and to mitigate the damages that will create by those incidents. So the thing here is that this is one aspect of business mindset, to understand the why, but another thing that will help us reframe our perspective is this. Everything fails, okay? All the time. Who said it? The CTO of AWS, Werner Vogels, but I could say that as well, but I don't have enough reputation like the AWS CTO, so I can't quote myself. But that's the thing. Everything fails all the time. I've seen it throughout my entire career in tech, but it's not only in tech that things fail. I mean, yeah, production systems fail, dev environments, pipelines, things that we build, things that we buy, but also we as human beings, right? We crash and we need to go to sleep. This is some sort of failure. So everything fails all the time. And that's why if we have this understanding, then we know that there isn't such thing as incident, right? Because we expect it to fail. And that's why we couldn't be in an ad hoc manner of, okay, let's put out this file. We know it's going to fail, so we know that we have a structured process to deal with this failure. So like failures is a given. So that's why this structured process is from this understanding that, okay, we expected it to fail, and that's why, okay, now we can deal with it and we are prepared to deal with it. So a structured process, right, of an incident basically can lead to incident prevention. It could improve mean time to resolution and eventually to cost reduction because downtime was either reduced or eliminated entirely. And basically, this structured process could lead to preserve our business, customer, and reputation. And again, if we care about the business, if we have the business mindset in check, then this is thing that we need to think about. So what is this structured process that I keep talking about? So we have these 5 pillars. This is, I've taken this structure from an article online by OnPage, but you'll see that we have like questions that you can ask in each pillar in order to continue to the next one. So these pillars are those: identify and categorize, notify and escalate, investigate and diagnose, resolve and recovery, and even incident closure is a pillar of its own, and there are things to be done during an incident closure and after an incident took place. So let's cover each one. So first of all, you can say that during an incident, you say, hey, keep calm, I'm an engineer. Or you can say, I can't keep calm, I'm an engineer. Okay, so we have these 2 levels of people that say each of that. But you can say, hey, I can keep calm because I have those questions that I'm gonna share with you, and then you know exactly what needs to be done in each phase and continue in progressing towards resolution. So let's cover each one. So first of all, identify and categorize pillar. Let's understand the full extent of the problem. So if I understand the full extent of the problem, that's awesome. No, nothing to do here. But if not, I need to gather more information because I need to understand what is the impact. And if I get an alert and I don't know the impact, then I couldn't really even grasp the extent, and I don't know even what needs to be done. So understanding the full extent of the problem is very, very important in this case. After that, we need to understand if this issue if we can wait and handle it in business hours. If we're not sure, let's ask, because it's better to be safe than sorry. Use the information that you got, escalate if you're not sure, and if you did find out that the alert can wait for next time and the alert that you got is critical, then let's change severity. So next time you wouldn't be awake because of an alert that could wait for the next day. And also, let's update runbooks. If we saw that a runbook suggested something that is not what's needed to fix the issue as soon as possible, so let's make sure that the runbook is updated, and I will cover it more a bit later. Another question here is that I need to check if I was notified about the incident from the proper or expected channels, because if I got it from an alert of PagerDuty, OpsGenie, VictorOps, that's great, but if I got it from a customer, that's not so great, okay? It's not good for reputation, it's not good for the user experience, so we should avoid that. So if we did got notification from proper channels, that's awesome, but if not, of course, during the incident, you don't fix it because we have priorities, but put like a note to self kind of thing to fix it after the incident. So write it down and then afterwards open a task for you to fix that. The next pillar is notify and escalate. So the questions here are basically one question. Who should be notified about this incident? And we have like two things to think about, both during the incident and in general, because during the incident, if the incident is critical enough, then by incident importance, of course, then we maybe need to escalate to support teams or customer success teams that they need to communicate it to customers, because we have like responsibility to our customers to let them know if we know of any issues, so we need to communicate it to them. And when I say in general, I mean like other teams or key focal points that care about these systems. So maybe there are other teams that have like a minor flow that uses this system and they care about this. So if they know that the system is currently not in a healthy state, then they know not to run that service or whatever they are doing. So if there are other people that have interest in the system that has issues currently, then make sure they know about the incident as well. In the investigation and diagnosis pillar, we have these questions. So what information is relevant towards the incident resolution? Because focusing on the non-relevant information will throw you off a route and make you lose valuable time during debugging, and we don't want that because we all know that time is of the essence and we need to resolve the issue as much as possible. And we all know that sometimes flows of the system that we have comprises of different parts, like moving parts. And we need to focus on the relevant phase, because if I need to escalate it to someone, they don't care about the whole process. If I debugged already and I saw that the issue flow fails on a certain phase, they don't care about the other parts. They care only where it fails, like I need to connect to the DB. Okay, so tell them that. They don't need to know the entire history. So always focus on the information relevant in order to save time, in order to not confuse the other people that are trying to help you, etc. Also, okay, awesome, I investigated the incident. Now I found like the reason of the issue. I need to understand if this reason is the root cause. And if it's the root cause, do I understand it? Because sometimes the root cause is not clear. If it's because the error is not clear, I know where the issue relies, but I don't know what's going on specifically. So I need to understand that I need to make sure that I understand the root cause. If so, awesome. If not, we need to investigate more. We need to escalate maybe for people to help us understand the root cause. And especially if it takes time to debug, then make sure you escalate, and I will cover it more in a bit. And we also need to understand that we need to prioritize root cause over surface level symptoms, because who here, had alert about service on a server crashed, and it was 4 a.m. and you just go to the server and start it and go back to sleep. This is okay, and you hope that it's enough, but we need to prioritize root cause. We need to understand why the service crashed in the first place, because it could expose an underlying issue that could suggest something more critical than that. And the thing about also escalation is that it also links to the business mindset, because if I escalate, then it means I have business mindset in mind, because I want to avoid breaching the SLAs, so it all comes together. The fourth pillar is resolution and recovery. So I found the root cause. Okay, since I have the root cause, I know I have like potential solutions that are available for me to fix the issue. Now I need to choose which available solution is needed to and is the best one to take. So the one to choose is the fastest one to eliminate downtime, but without compromising systems health and stability. Why fast? First, because we all want to go to sleep, but also because business mindset, again, I'm gonna remind you of that a lot here. We want to make sure the service is up and running as soon as possible. And sometimes we do changes and we do fixes that are quick and dirty because it's the middle of the night, because the permanent fix is something in the code that needs to be further checked. So it's okay. If all the relevant personnel are aware of this quick and dirty and they agree on that, that's totally fine, but still open a task to make sure that the permanent fix will happen, because if not, the system health is not really healthy, right? It's just a patch. Something bad will happen if we don't permanently fix the issue. So system stability is the most important one, not only for me as a DevOps engineer, but I think all of you as developers as well, because developing something, I assume it's like your baby. You want to make sure your baby is healthy and not just have like a Band-Aid, but like stitches. I don't know. No, never mind. So another question to ask here is, do I need any action items needed after resolving the issue? Because if we talked about patch, if we did a patch, let's now permanently fix the issue so we have a proper solution and a healthier system. And we want to make sure we prevent recurring issue from happening. It should be a priority, not only for us to not wake up in the middle of the night, but also for the system to be stable, and also for the business, because if we have a recurring issue, it means more people are fixing it over and over again. They are wasting resources, they are wasting money, so it's not good for the business either. So preventing a recurring issue is a priority. And last but not least, the last pillar is closure of the incident. So once the incident got finished, maybe I need to now notify someone about the fact that issues should be resolved, right? So if I notified the same people that I notified at the beginning should get notified now. We all should be end-to-end communicators to make sure that, hey, we expect things to be okay now. Let's make sure it is the case, that you experience that everything is okay, and continue from there. We also need to do like a retrospective of the alerts. If the alerts that we got were okay, maybe they need tweaking, maybe I had false positives, so we need to fix that if it wasn't right for this incident. Runbooks. So I'm not sure, in case you don't know what our runbooks are, so not all issues are straightforward or can be debugged only from errors. Sometimes you need to have like a judgment call of, if this happens, we need to check that, but if this happens, we need to check this and that and alert this and blah, blah, blah. So runbooks are needed when there are stuff that are not really straightforward and they have like several moving parts. So if an incident runbook was in place for this incident, then let's check it is outdated, if it's outdated or not. If it's outdated, of course, let's update it, because I had times where I started out handling an incident, and then I used the runbook only to a certain point, and then whatever it was written there wasn't relevant anymore, so I had to talk with the developers and then figure out from there. And then I didn't just talk to the developers, I eventually got back to the runbook and fix it, not only for me, because for sure I'm not going to remember what I did, but for other team members as well, that if they will have this incident or something similar, they know what to do. So I always care about other team members as well, and not only my own. Also here, can I help prevent similar incidents from happening again? Maybe doing the investigation, I saw that, hey, this log rotate that should work doesn't work, and then I'll open a task about it to fix it. Maybe I saw other things in the process that didn't really work well, so then I can help prevent other incidents from happening as well. So if I can, let's do it here. And let's talk a bit about postmortem. So if you don't know, postmortem is the meeting that we should held once a critical incident took place, and then it's like a lessons learned. We need to derive conclusions. How can we prevent this issue from happening again? What did we do right? What did we do wrong, etc. So I don't think what I'm going to say now comes as a surprise, but there was a study conducted by Bluma Zagernik, who's a Russian psychologist. She found that we remember more details during ongoing scenarios rather than upon their completion. Right? It makes sense. So in favor of better postmortem process, write down the notes for the postmortem as soon as possible, so then the meeting will be as efficient as possible. And even if you don't need to have a postmortem because the incident wasn't that critical, still share the knowledge with your team members, with other people, because they can benefit from your line of thought. They can benefit from how you debugged. Maybe throughout the knowledge sharing, they will understand the flow of that system that they didn't know before, which could be beneficial for everyone. So even if you don't need to do a meeting, still share the knowledge. It will benefit everyone. War room conduct. So war room is when we have a critical incident that needs more than 2 or 3 people involved, because maybe it touches several parts that are cross teams. So in a war room scenario, we should have an incident manager that will handle the incident. And why is that? Because I'm gonna tell you a story. So in one of my previous companies, I was pretty new at work, like a month and a half, and there was a crucial incident by AWS, and it affected our systems miserably. So then it was during Corona time, so the war room was conducted in Zoom. They sent the link there. I joined because I wanted to learn. I just planned to be a fly on the wall, and that's that. But then after 10 minutes, they're talking and talking. He's pushing to this direction and he's pushing to that direction. And he's like, no, we need to check that. No, and we didn't really progress towards any resolution. Just people talked and talked and didn't do anything to really progress towards the actual resolution. So then I unmute myself and I said, folks, just a second. I see that we're not getting anywhere. So, and then I listened to everything, what they said, and then I derived actual action items that needs to be taken. So I said to this guy, okay, you said that there should be a proper process to start the service, right? It should be handled in a certain order, and there's no runbook for that, right? Okay, write the runbook now, because if you wouldn't be available to do it once the incident gets finished, then we need someone to do it. So write the runbook right now. You do this, you do that. And basically, I started to divide the work and told people what to do in order to actually achieve something. And once I did that, then stuff started to progress, and we were very, very much closer to the incident resolution. So incident manager is very, very important in this matter, because, again, everyone has their own, it's not really an agenda, but everyone knows different pieces of the puzzle, and we need someone that looks above and understand how it all fits together, and then divide the work. So the incident manager needs to divide the work, tell people what to do. He should be, not he, she, or they should be calm and collected, see things clearly, not afraid also to reduce people's involvement if it doesn't serve the purpose. Because sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, the war room should be dynamic and minimal. So if someone was needed only for a certain function, so if they finished this function, thank you, go away. Don't interrupt, okay? Because we need to make sure everything is conducted in a smooth way and people don't interrupt if they don't really need to. So if they finish doing something, awesome, thank you so much. Please go continue with your work, and we will call you if we need anything else. So, being too many people is too noisy. We need to keep it as minimal as possible, and we need to make sure the work is being divided to make sure things progress towards resolution. Okay, so now I'm going to cover some necessary qualities for an incident manager. And when I say incident manager, I just showed you that it's in regards to war, but not only. Even if there's a critical incident that I'm managing by myself because it touches only in my realm, infrastructure, I'm the incident manager, right? It's only me, but still, we always have an incident manager in an incident. So whether you're in a war room or by yourself, the necessary qualities, of course, there are a lot of qualities that are needed, but these are the ones that I thought are worth highlighting. And I'm going to also show you some ways how to perfect and improve those qualities. So first of all, you need to think on your feet to be an impromptu action taker, because sometimes the incident that you will face is something that you're familiar with, and sometimes it's something that is in an uncharted territory. You need to think on your feet and be ready for anything. And in order to practice it, you can participate in brainstorming sessions at work whenever possible. And this will train your ability of being an impromptu action taker, because these kind of scenarios are like ping pong, right? Like he throws an idea, he throws an idea. So this could train your ability and have the ability to be an impromptu action taker. Differentiate between relevant and irrelevant information. I showed you that during the process of being a structure, the process for the incident management. So it is, I can't stress enough how important it is, because it will be the thing that will break or make or break how much time it takes for you to handle an incident. Because really, I went to a lot of, not even war rooms, but like scenarios and talks where people talked and talked and talked, and okay, what are the action items? Let's have action items in order to progress to the incident resolution. So we always need to differentiate the information from the relevant to non-relevant one, and in order to do so, we need to have from before knowledge. Okay, I don't remember the word. So we need to have knowledge from before, aka the more you know how a system works, the more your ability to separate the relevant from the non-relevant information increases. So because then you know all the parts, and you know this is relevant, this is not, and that's it. Operate under pressure. So I have another story for that. In one of my previous companies as well, I also was pretty new. It was my first on-call shift, and the first incident I had, 100 alerts in pager duty. So of course I didn't know what to do. I'm still new. I'm not sure what's going on, and I had a buddy that helped me not only facilitate myself in the company but also in production. So I called him. I sit next to me and let's fix the issue. And then he sat next to me. I'm speaking. I'm like, okay, I think at the time explaining some stuff, and I'm speaking to the. I'm looking at the screen, right? Because look at here, explaining it like in a minute, like just a quick summary. And I'm like, okay, yalla, what can we do? And yalla is like a word in Hebrew/Arabic, like let's go, let's do this. Yalla, what can we do? And then no response. And I'm like, okay, I look at this guy, and then he's like shocked. He's shocked. He looked at all of the incident. He's like, so many alerts. I'm like, dude, snap out of it. It doesn't help anyone. Snap out of it. And he was like 2 years at the job, and I was like a month. But he was so shocked from the amount of alerts. But you know, the amount of alerts doesn't necessarily mean, something bad happened, but it triggered a lot of alerts because one system failed, and then alerts from dependent services got triggered as well. So it makes sense. So you don't need to be aware or be afraid of a lot of incidents. You just need to, okay, understand something bad happened. Let's start dealing with it. So stress is a symptom of being out of control, of course, but collection of relevant data will help you decrease the stress levels, because when you know what to do, then you are in control. And in general, you should keep a cool head and snap out of uncertainty cloudiness, because again, you know what to do, you know the flows, you know the things that needs to be debugged, so let's get right to it. And when it comes to multiple participants incident, then you should make people feel at ease, because then it will dissipate levels of stress, which is awesome for everyone. Okay, methodical work. So as we know, during incidents, time is of the essence, right? So, and there's a pressure to solve things fast. So methodical work will help you gain faster incident resolution, because if we are working in an organized manner, then we know exactly what needs to be done. We're not all over the place, and we know what needs to be done, and we can do things faster. Be humble. So that's another thing that I think is very, very important here. A lot of people think that solving an incident is their time to shine, right? Like, I will solve the incident, I will be the hero, everyone will appreciate me because they don't see what I do day to day, but if they see I solved an incident in production, then I'm someone. But I sense, again, business mindset is the most important thing here. If you try to debug, if you don't know what to do, and it's okay not to know how to fix an issue, not everyone knows everything, it's okay. But if you try to debug and you're stuck, then don't try to be the hero and say, I got this, and then be lost and waste a lot of valuable time. Escalate the issue. And if you will escalate, everyone will thank you for that. The business will thank you for that, because we all want to fix the issue as fast as possible. So just make sure that to escalate if you can, and trust me, you will have a lot of ways to prove yourself during your day-to-day. So if you're stuck, just escalate. It will be this actually will be the way to shine, because people will see, okay, he escalated on time, he understood that he needs help, awesome, let's continue from there. And that way, again, you'll have business interest in heart. Being a problem solver, like you need to have like a whatever is needed approach, a can-do approach. I saw a lot of people, like when I tried to help them debug, and I said, okay, let's eliminate this, or let's check that, and they, it's not important, no. I'm like, you have any other lead? No. Okay, so can we do what I asked? Okay, thank you. So elimination is a lot of the time part of debugging, so you shouldn't have like a negative approach of, no, I don't think it's related. If you don't know, then let's try it, and especially if you don't have a clear path of what needs to be debugged. So don't have a negative approach, can-do approach. If someone suggests something and it looks valid, just do it. And basically, if you escalate it, then it means that you should be open to other people helping out, so let them help you. A sense of ownership and initiative. So let's say you did escalate the issue. I've seen a lot of the times where an issue was escalated, and then when I asked the people on call what's the status of the incident, he's on it. Are you sure he's on it? Because I had the time at work where I woke someone up at 2 a.m. and he was unresponsive in Slack, so I didn't know if he's on it or not. So I had to call and understand, yeah, I'm on it. Okay, so can you please communicate to me that you're on it? Because I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not near you, right? So sense of ownership means that even if we escalated an incident, we are still on call. The issue happened in our area, so we need to make sure that the other person is really on it, to be really end-to-end handler of the incident, and to make sure that things are really being handled and not just fall into any cracks. Good communicators. So we need to be good in communication in incidents. Why? We need to explain the issue to others helping out. We need to explain it for escalation purposes. They need to know the information, and if we don't communicate it properly, then it will be hard for them to onboard to that issue. We need to explain it to customers or to customer success that it needs to be like a capsule in a manner that they will understand, right? So communication is very, very important here. And not a lot of people are good in communication, right? I know a lot of people that write in Slack, fix, please check. That's it. I see smiles, then you know what I'm talking about. I'm finding it very hard coping with that, because I'm a very sharing person. I think that a lot of people can benefit from the information, from the flow explained. So it's very, very important to communicate things. So if you don't have this ability, then there are things to be done. Communication guidelines can be established. So we can establish the guidelines of what channels should be used and what content is expected in those channels, and how communications should be documented and conveyed. And then even though it doesn't come to you naturally, you still have the guidelines that you can just follow, and that's basically it. You can do it, know exactly what is expected of you, and that's that. And this is more relevant for when you have either a war room or more than 2 people involvement. Lead without authority. So if you're nice and you're confident and you make people feel at ease and you project and everything is okay facade, then people will listen to you and follow your lead and will be more engaged to help you with whatever incident you have, even though it's not in their line of responsibility. And in the middle of everything, like I think that the most quality part or quality is needed here that couldn't allow any other one to be here is that you should care. If you don't care, I personally would dig deep down inside to understand why I don't care. Maybe it's I need to switch jobs, maybe something else happened, but caring is the force that will help you really succeed in incident management, because you care. You want to make your clients happy. You want to make the business happy. You want to make your team members happy, because if they don't know how to fix issues, then they're not happy, and I care about them, right? So caring is the most important thing that will derive everything and drive it to the place it should be. Okay, so let's go back to the agenda. So we covered the mindset, the business mindset. We covered the incident management process that we should have. and how can we ask the right questions in order to progress to the next phase. We covered the traits to have as an on-call. Now let's cover the proactive approach, both on day-to-day and after the fact, after an incident took place, to already come prepared for an incident. And why do we want to come prepared for incidents? Because, you know, the Fugees song, Ready or Not, Here I Come, You Can Hide, right? So ready or not, PagerDuty, OpsGenie, VictorOps, any other app that you use will come, okay? They don't care if you're ready or not, they will come, you can't hide. So better come prepared for the incident and, you know, avoid that. Okay, so after the fact, after the incident took place, what can we do? First of all, on-call shift handoffs. I'm not sure if it's something that is being done in all companies, so I'll explain about it. So some companies have shifts like for entire week, for the person to be on call for the entire week. Some shifts are entire day, and then each day someone shifts and replaces them. Sometimes it's even half a day because they have different time zones. So half a day is US, half a day is Israel in my experience. So a lot of shifts can be done here. So on-call shift handoffs means that it's like a summary, a concise summary of what the shift that I had concludes of. So if I had like false positive alerts that were happening and I suppressed them. So I'm writing here suppressed alert X because it's false positive, be aware. Or I had a recurrent issue, or alert X is still opened, but I snoozed it for 12 hours because it's waiting for dev to check XYZ. So I'm basically writing a summary which is concise to make sure that the people that are on call after me know exactly what's being done in production and is ready for their shift. Because if they know, they see an alert, they don't know why is it still open, someone took care of it, didn't, why is it still open? So I'm covering everything in the shift handoff, and that way it's good for both audit purposes but also for the team member success. That way they can come more prepared for their shift. Post-mortem notes. So we discussed that we need to cover the notes and write them down as soon as possible. But even if you don't have the need of a post-mortem meeting, still do a post-mortem with yourself. Like do a mental check, do a retrospective with yourself, see what you could have done better. And trust me, if you would do it, I'm sure you'll find some insights that will help you, that you will know if you did something that you could have done better, and it could help you for your next shifts. New tasks. So maybe I found during the investigation and the debugging, I saw stuff that could help prevent the next incidents or stabilize the environment, if it's the log rotate that I mentioned, or any other thing that could stabilize the environment further. So if you encountered or thought about these kind of things, open new tasks in Jira, Monday, or whatever tool that you use, and that way it will help the next incident, because maybe the next incident wouldn't come because of these tasks that you created. Modify alerts. So if you have false positive alerts, we need to fix them. If the severity was critical but it's actually low, we need to fix that. And please don't wait for the on-call to do it, because they will wait for the on-call to do it, and they will wait for the on-call to do it, and then it will never happen, at least in my experience. So please fix them yourselves if you encounter these alerts. Incident runbooks, as I mentioned, so if there are runbooks in place, please make sure they are updated. If they aren't in place, then write them down. It will help your team members. It will help you, the future you, like in a month when you wouldn't remember anything. So incident runbooks can be very, very helpful. And at least in PagerDuty, you can link in the description of an alert. You can link to the runbook link if it's in Confluence or whatever, and then you know exactly which runbook is related to which incident. Automation. So maybe I found candidates for self-remediation. If so, let's do it. And let's make sure self-remediation is something that we do that could prevent us from having incidents that we don't really need the human touch to deal with. If the issue is handled, I mentioned it again, but again, it's not enough to mention it once. Please, please, please share the knowledge more in depth than in an on-call shift handoff, because people can benefit from it, from your line of thought, from how you debugged. You will explain the flow and people will learn a flow that they didn't learn before. So it could help anyone, so please, please share the knowledge if you handle an issue. So that was for after the fact, after an incident took place. Now let's understand what can we do better, the proactive approach for your day-to-day as engineers. So I mentioned the on-call shift handoffs, but it's not only a need to write them yourself and read the shift handoffs from the one before you. You need to read everyone notes on an ongoing basis. And why is that? Because production happens all the time, right? Not only when you're on call or about to be on call. It happens all the time, and your way to understand what's going on in production is through these summaries. So read those summaries, you'll be very up to date with what's going on in production, which is awesome, and will prepare you for next to come. Escalation point of contacts. So let's say, I assume that everyone here manages several services at work, and you know what needs to be done in your area. Like if you're coders, you know the environment for the code stuff, and I'm a DevOps engineer, so I know the stuff that's needed from the infrastructure level. But you should know other realms as well to have the full picture. So let's say there's an issue with X. I checked my side of things, I don't see any issue, but I know that John is the one to handle X from the side of the code. So I should ask, if everything looks okay from my side, I should escalate to him to check things on his end. So identifying services escalation points on a day-to-day basis, and not only ad hoc when incident occurs, will save time and money on incident management. Also save someone else's hours of sleep, because it happens to be that my team leader is here, and I really don't want to wake him up in the middle of the night to ask who's responsible for X, because why should I interrupt his sleep? He's kind to me, I want to be kind to him. So if I identify upfront who's the escalation points, then I already know who I need to escalate the issues to. So it's a very, very important thing that could save money, time, hours of sleep, all. Understand system architecture. So if we know weaker areas of the system and vulnerabilities, and we know sensitive areas and blast radius scopes of our systems, then we know what is prone to fail, and we have a go-to to fix it. So the more you know about your systems, and specifically the weaker areas and things that fail frequently, then you know what needs to be done. Coupled with that, application flows. So if you know the application flows, aka this connects to this, connect to this, connect to that, like the entire chain, then it will help you with troubleshooting, because you know exactly what needs to be checked, and you have a methodical work of doing that because you have an order for that. And it will, again, it will contribute to the methodical debugging, but also it will help you understand the business impact, because if I know the chain, I know what is affected. Users, several users, all flows, only critical, one critical that is more important, several but not very critical, so I can know exactly what is the business impact. It also could help me with escalation, because I know that part 1, 2, 3 at the chain is my responsibility, but then part 4 is the developer, and then I know, okay, in this part I need to escalate, and I know who to escalate to, and that's basically it. So learning the application flows are very important also in this aspect. Team members' tasks. So it's very easy to focus only on my tasks in my day-to-day, especially if we have a big team. But again, production changes all the time, and it changes through my team members' tasks as well, and not only via my tasks. So you should get involved and be aware of latest changes that could rock the boat, and learn how their tasks affect production as well. And when I say team members' tasks, I meant like indirect things, but deployment and changes in prod are direct changes in production. So for direct changes in production, deployments or any other changes, ask about the change and its possible impact. Because again, OpsGenie or PagerDuty doesn't care if you didn't do the change yourself, okay? It will call you anyway if you're on call. So better know about what's going on, instead of, let me ask someone, okay? Just know it up front, and then you'll know what to do, or at least you know where to check for the solution. And last but not least, it is a bonus because not everyone is inclined to be a go-to person. But if you are a go-to person, then you will get, I like to call it push notifications. So people will come to you to share some stuff, share insights, come to you to consult on things. So you'll get push notifications, and then it will decrease your need to fetch the updates on your own because people will come to you and explain things to you already. So I covered a lot of things here. I have no idea how I am on times. Maybe you have a lot of time to go for a break. But anyway, so to sum things up in regards to talk the talk and also walk the walk when it comes to incident management, you should have your qualities in check. You should make the process structured as much as possible and be proactive, as I showed you now, because that way you will come prepared to any incident that will cross your way and prevent the next incident from happening. And remember, less incidents means less downtime, means business success, and business success is eventually your success. And plus, you get to preserve much needed hours of sleep. So thank you so much, and if you have questions, here's the time. Thank you.